up guys, it's Able's Monkey. We are back for another video. Today we're going to be doing Black Clover. Now I love Black Clover, it is my favourite anime, and I know what you're thinking. Oh god, oh gosh. It's been 2 weeks since I uploaded a Black Clover manga chapter review. Oh god. So, one thing I first of all want to say is I have excuses. I do have excuses. So, the first week why I didn't upload a Black Clover manga chapter was mainly because Shonen Jump was on break, which means there was no new manga chapter to review. And the next week I was just literally too busy, that's why I only got out 2 Dragon Ball What Ifs instead of what I was actually planning to do for that week, if you get what I'm saying. Now, I know that you guys have been waiting for this, so instead of just giving you one chapter and then next week going on to the next chapter, I'm just going to give you both chapters right now. So that's why this video has the title Chapter 261 and 262, because I'm going to be covering both of them, which means you get a long video. So yeah, I am going to be sticking to a schedule on this channel, so every other day you can expect an upload. So if I upload this on maybe Tuesday, that means the next video will be on Thursday, so every other day you get a video, which means you might receive either 3 or 4 videos a week. Depends really if I upload on a Monday or a Tuesday to start with. So that's probably how I'm going to do things on this channel from now on. Hopefully I won't miss an upload, but if I do miss an upload, the next day there'll be an upload and I'll just resume that schedule. And I'll try and leave a bit of a gap every time I upload, because, you need to give some time before, after a video is uploaded, give it a full day to, grow a bit. So yeah, that is my schedule. So let's get into this manga chapter. In the previous chapter, let me refresh your mind. You probably have been waiting for this chapter for so long and I just haven't delivered. I'm sorry. So in the previous chapter, of course, we know that Yami was captured due to the arrival of Zenon. So this chapter opens up with some beautiful art. Look at that shit. And this chapter is called Chapter 261, Shadows of the Night. And we have this amazing scene of, obviously, Asta received a new sword, that being Yami's katana, and he corrupted his arm, and we see Yami behind Asta, and geez, oh, look at that. That looks fucking sick. So yeah, it's fucking amazing, and let's open up this chapter. We start this chapter at the hospital in the Clover Kingdom with Asta being healed. Asta's life isn't in danger, however, and we see this sort of doctor dude, the doctor, who looks at Asta's right arm and he says, this right arm, it is so unknown that there's simply nothing I can do for it. And we see Finral, who is mega depressed, and we see him say, the thing is, the Golden Dawn has been decimated completely, which means we do not have as much healers as we should, and I'd prefer to have a lot more recovery mages to take a look, but I'm sorry, but we can't. I'm truly glad you suffered only minor injuries. To which Finral says, it's all because Asta and Mr. Yami protected us. That's the only reason why we're not that damaged. Which is true. And yeah, Finral was fucking depressed. We then see him take a look at Ghosh, who we obviously know got stabbed right in the chest with Grey crying over him. And he says, was he really run through by a giant sword? I'll give Ghosh a proper look too. But this is beyond recovery. His very tissues has been reassembled. He then looks at Grey. I don't believe the true nature of your magic is transformation. I think what Grey's magic is... Now, there's very different possibilities as to what it could be, because she has healed, but my most logical answer would be matter control. She can control matter, which is how she was able to close the tissues. It's how she's able to create clones, because she can control atoms, particles, matter. Sort of maybe something along those lines. I mean, I don't really know what else it could be besides maybe she can just control the atoms and in the air, maybe? I don't know. Not really sure. We didn't see Vanessa. What the hell? My voice just went into some random thing. We didn't see Vanessa, who's also depressed, who's looking down and she says, I hear they're holding another captain's meeting later on. And the doctor looks at them and says, well, all you can do now is just rest up a bit. We obviously will see this in the next chapter. We then see Asta wake up in his bed, and he is sweating. I mean, of course he's sweating. He's just watched Yami get captured by Zenon. He immediately grabs his grimoire and he starts pulling out the katana, the anti-magic katana. I don't really know what to call this fourth sword of Asta's, but for now I'm just going to call it the anti-magic katana. But I'm sure it will get an official name later on. It'll probably be called like the demon katana or something like that, following the pattern of Asta's swords having demon in front of them. So we see Asta fucking sweating, his teeth are trembling, and we can see the katana, and Asta immediately grabs it and he puts on his headband, and he starts to run outside, and all of a sudden he can no longer move, and we see a person who says, where are you going? So obviously we see Asta, who's dealing with the trauma of having Yami been captured. As well as that, we know that the last thing Asta saw was Yami being captured, so the last thing he saw was a battle before he fell unconscious. So of course his first reaction when he woke up was to just grab the katana and immediately attack anything. So then we see a hooded figure who says nothing. He's just told him, where are you going? And we see Asta, who turns his head and says, who's that? Is his magic holding me here? We see Asta, who's gritting his teeth, and he says, I have to save Yami. And the hooded figure finally speaks and says, you cannot. You were no match for the devil host on your own. Where were you even trying to go? There are 2 others who are just as strong as the last one you just fought. Now, we don't know how powerful Dante is, but from what he's saying, we can assume that Dante is roughly around the same strength, but I don't know if Dante is the strongest of the 3. However, I would assume that Zenon is, after the amount of strength they've portrayed Zenon to have. Because Dante has clearly been shown to be kind of weak, to be honest with you. I mean, Asta defeated him in the last chapter with Yami's katana. It doesn't look good for a villain if you're trying to look OP and you've just been destroyed by the main character. But we do know that Zenon and Monica are obviously going to be a lot more trouble than Dante was when he fought against Asta and Yami. We then see the hooded figure say, even the devil you're counting on has given up on you. You are hopeless. You don't understand that right arm very well either. As you are now, going in isn't courageous or anything like that. It is nothing but stupid and reckless. So this guy, he is very vulgar. He's laying it straight to Asta. He's telling him, if you go, you're dumb. You're clapped, mate. And Asta says, even so, I have to go. While we're here now, Captain Yami is... Who knows what they're doing to him? We see the hooded figure who says, oh, him? Why don't we just leave him? Asta clearly does not like that. And he says, I don't know who you are, but what do you even know about Captain Yami? And this hooded figure tells Asta, I am actually very familiar with him. He's rough and violent and savage, irresponsible, unfaithful, unprincipled. He isn't even a decent human being. We then see Asta start having flashbacks with basically all of his moments with Yami, and he immediately reacts the whole way the Black Clover fan base has reacted to hearing this, because they don't want to hear anybody talk shit about our main character, our retired main character, Yami. He then says, if he lost, he's just an idiot. So yeah, this guy clearly has a very different view on Yami to other people. We then see Asta immediately pull out the Demon Destroyer sword. Now, this is very convoluted in my opinion, because Asta, I really like the way that Asta got Yami's sword, because it was, I like the way they've given it to him, because the last time Asta got swords, they were always a bit random. I mean, he got the Demon Dweller sword in a dungeon in some random chests, and then he got the Demon Destroyer sword because it was just with Lich, because, I don't know, maybe Lich just kept it. So we then see Asta immediately pull out the Demon Destroyer sword. He wants to destroy this hooded figure. And we then see all these sort of like black hands just start to hold him, these shadowy hands. They all just pin him to the ground. Now this really reminds me of Betelgeuse from ReZero, or kind of like in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood when they have all those little hands. However, these hands are a lot bigger. So yeah, this sort of reminds me of Betelgeuse's power in Re:Zero. If you know what I'm talking about, or if you've watched Re:Zero, you should know. But this is a very interesting power. It seems like he's using darkness to use it, so he could be a darkness magic user. And he then looks down at Asta and says, "A human who could not even defeat me shall never be able to rescue Yami." And we then see Asta. He looks down at the ground. He then says, "It is your fault for being weak." And we see Asta break down. And this is such a hard scene to watch because we know how much Asta's been through. And the last time we saw Asta break down like this, it was right after the fight on the underwater sea temple with Veto. Now, I don't know if you guys remember that, but Asta busted both of his arms and he obviously had to go to the Witch Queen's forest. And he broke down. But this is just so much worse because back then he didn't prepare for that fight, to be honest with you. This fight, he's been preparing for it for 6 months just to fail and lose Yami in the process. So this is just going to be such an amazing scene in the anime, but I really do feel for Asta in this scene. And he says, "If only I was stronger. If only I was stronger." And we see the hooded figure remove his hood, and he says, "You're a fool." And we see Asta look up at him with tears in his eyes, which is, no, it's not the best thing to look at. And he says, "You're a good person. I like you. Don't worry. Yami, he's still alive." And Asta then says, "Who the heck are you?" And then we get the thumbnail of this video. He stands tall in front of the hospital. "I am the vice captain of the Black Bulls, not." Oh, baby. We can see he's got a devil on his shoulder. He's got 2 horns. He's devil possessed. I was not expecting this. This is the vice captain of the Black Bulls. I mean, come on. Who was expecting this? I was not expecting this. I thought this was probably going to be a girl. I thought it would be like someone who was powerful. Like they could give maybe a captain a run for their money. But I was not expecting him to be this OP. So he looks down at Asta and says, "If you want, I'll teach you how to use those devil powers." And so the chapter ends. So let's go straight on to the next chapter. We immediately see Not with the devil-like imp on his shoulder. Now we know the relationships between devils and humans are very different. For example, some humans use devils like Asta, who's kind of just been using his devil while the devil just watches from the sideline, and he's only really worked with his devil once. Whereas we see Dante, who's completely submitted to his devil, and he's basically a simp for his devil. I don't really know how else to explain it. So we see this devil has a very, very different stance on his master, and he says, "Sir Not, who is this small kid?" And we see Not, who says, "The one who had appeared is the Black Bull's vice captain. He tells Asta that I shall train you in the way to use the devil's power. Gumiro, I'm sorry, but aren't you a bit smaller than him?" And this devil begins to laugh and says, "Please stop that. This is just a temporary form." So apparently, this is just this devil's temporary form. So we can assume that he has a bigger form like Asta's anti-magic devil and all the other devils. So could Asta in the future get this ability? Is he going to have a tiny little anti-magic nymph devil on his shoulder like a Pikachu? And we see Asta who looks up and says, "That's a devil? He's talking to his devil casually?" "Yes, I am. You're also devil-possessed, am I correct?" "This is my devil. His name is Gumiro." So I don't know of a demon called Gumiro in demonology, but I'm sure somebody's heard of it, so I'm sure it's a reference to something. Another reference is actually the vice captain's name is Not, and I believe in German, Not means darkness. I'm not too sure about that, but I have done a bit of research on that, so I assume it is darkness in another language. I'm not too sure if it's German, but I think it might be German. So Asta looks up at him pretty confused and says, You're really a black bull? And other than that, you're the vice captain?" Now, I can see why Tabata has hidden this guy away for so long. I mean, just imagine if he came, against Veto. Veto would have got annihilated by him, from what it seems. And the Betelgeuse darkness-like hands let go of Asta. Obviously, they need to let go. And he says, yes, Yami just decided, and as he pleased, though. I've never been to the hideout, though, since my first visit, and it can't be helped if even you guys don't know of me. And we see Asta, his devil, who says, let me speak a little bit. And we then see him say, rather condescendingly, I hate Yami. So yeah, he's not holding back. He just told Asta, I hate him. I don't really care what you think. I hate this guy. But there's still some time left till Yami dies. However frustrating, people like that are persistent. But Asta looks up into him and says, how can you possibly know that he's not yet died? And he says, well, until now, I've been infiltrating the Spade Kingdom. And I don't know if I could trust you already. But I still don't know you that well. But right now, for me, the only person I can depend on is you. I beg you, please, teach me how to make use of the devil's power. And we see Nart, who says, I really like your honesty. I like that kind of person. But judging from your movements and behaviour, I sense absolutely no talent at all. So yeah, he's just laying it straight. You ain't got no talent. After all we've seen Asta do, he's just telling Asta, you have no talent. Which is a bit strange, because Asta clearly knows what he's doing when he's using his powers. But maybe from Nart's perspective, Asta just looks like he just has no idea what he's doing. Who knows? We've never really seen Asta interact that much with somebody who's just like him. So I feel like if anybody's going to teach Asta how to use his powers, there's probably going to be someone who's just like him, who's been devil possessed. And I did not see this plot twist coming. So he tells Asta to rest up, and then we get to another scene. A scene that was referenced in the previous chapter. The meeting of the captains. Oh boy, we see the Wizard King, and he is not looking happy, but then we see Yuno, and fuck me, he's not looking too hot, man. He looks depressed, fam. He is, oh god, he watched half of his squad get just destroyed. I can see why he thinks like that. So they conclude the report of the Black Bulls, and they start talking about the portal that connects to the demon realm, or they're referring to it as the After Realm, and they say that the requirements for this is obviously Yami and Vengeance. Now, I believe they stated that the portal has been opened before, so could that mean that there's been a previous World Tree and Darkness magic user? I'm not too sure about all that. So we then see Real, who says, you don't say, to think that these two both got abducted. They then see Charlotte, and oh boy, Charlotte, the captain of the Blue Rose Knights. How is she feeling about this? I know she's saying that, those two so-called captains, what pathetic men. We then see Charlotte, who says, no, how? Yami, no way. Is he safe? Is he alive? I still haven't told him how I feel. So, I was expecting this from Charlotte, and, we then see Yuno, who says, at least the Dark Triad. We know now that they have a power that overwhelms even a captain. What's worse is, he wasn't even close to his full power. We then see Jack, the Ripper, who says, that's interesting. Yuno then looks down and says, we did our best. We then see him say, you're not overestimating them because you're scared, are you? Almost dead, magnificent Vice Captain of the Golden Dawn. So we see Fuegolion, who has interrupted Jack, the Ripper, who is the captain of the Green Praying Mantises, and he says, we don't know how much time we have left. For all we know, they might have already started connecting the portals of our world and theirs. So we see Dorothy, who is asleep, and we see the captains just continue to argue. So we see Will, who says, maybe they're already dead, and Charlotte is not happy about hearing that. So we see Jack try and make his way to try and attack them by himself. We obviously know that Jack really likes Yami. We know, obviously, he has a rivalry with Yami. And we see Nozel interrupt him. You're not planning to attack the Spade Kingdom alone, aren't you? Who in the world for a dumb like that? even if I did, it doesn't matter with you guys. So Jack is obviously saying what he wants to do, and we see Nozel, who says, don't worry, I also want to finish that foolish man with my own hands. Hesitate all you want. What do you mean by it doesn't matter to you? You are nothing but a fool. You think having it in your way is allowed as a captain? And Charlotte is obviously thinking in her head, I need to go help Yami. You know, everyone wants to go help Yami now, but there's no point, and they're all just arguing. So Fuegoleon yells, you guys, that's enough! And he basically just sends out a burst of mana, and Rill is just shocked. He's like, why is this meeting so messed up? Yami-san, without Yami, it's just such a mess. So yeah, we can see that without Yami, this meeting is not going well. And we then hear a voice. It's good that the desire seems enough within you. And we see not. And he says, however, could you be quiet for a while and stop arguing? I hate people who can't even hold a meeting properly. And that is the end of this chapter. So I covered both chapters. I hope you all will forgive me. Not a lot happened in chapter 262. So thank God I missed it, because, you know, imagine some massive shit had happened. You know, I would have had to cover this chapter individually. This is a longer video, and most Black Clover videos will be maximum 12 minutes. So this is probably the longest Black Clover video you're going to get in a while.
Thank you so much for watching.
So yeah,
sure you leave a like and comment
what did you guys think of this chapter? Let me know your thoughts down below. As I said before, I will be sticking to a schedule of every other day. Well, I'm going to try my very best to stick to this schedule.